we are going to go through the essential mat work repertoire. I don't often go in the exact order that the manual has it because I like to be able to stay in one space for certain warm-ups instead of hopping from front to back and to our sides. So we're going to start lying down, and I'm going to have you on your back side. So your feet are planted, arms are down at your sides. This will be no props in this class today, so you can do it anywhere. If you don't have a mat, just find some squishy carpet in your house or a comfy rug that you can lay down on. We're going to start with articulated bridges. So you're going to inhale to prepare. On your exhale, you're going to roll through your low back to lift your tailbone. And then you're going to roll through your low back, mid back, and on your scapula. I don't want to see this where you're jamming here. So you've got a softened sternum, hips are elongated, and then you're going to roll through your spine one vertebrae at a time, curling your pelvis so that way you're able to roll through your low back, and then release your tailbone. And you'll notice your low back will come up off the floor. Again, we're going to breathe in, exhale. You can turn your palms to face the ceiling to open your shoulders. Breathe in at the top, and then exhale to melt your spine back down to the floor. And again, one more. Breathe in, breathe out. Stay for an inhale with those hips open, and then exhale, roll from your upper back through the middle back, down through the lumbar spine, and finally release that tailbone down. Now you're simply going to roll over to your side. Your bottom arm can become a pillow. You're going to bend your knees, your hips are lined up with your shoulders, your upper arm is just outstretched in front of you. You're going to keep your gaze on your hand. We're going to inhale that hand to the ceiling, and then when we exhale, we're going to open our chest out to the ceiling as we follow our hand with our gaze. Stay for a breath or two, and then exhale the arm back down. Let me go through that breath pattern a little better. We inhale up, exhale to open, and then we can inhale back up and exhale closed, or you can linger when you're in that open position and try to breathe into your lungs. So you're going to want to belly breathe, but can you hold your core and send your breath into your lungs? Good, so now from this position you can press up. We're going to do the other side. So this is called your spinal rotation. It's getting some thoracic rotation in your spine. Upper arm stretched in front. We're going to inhale up, exhale, inhale, exhale. So notice I'm not just letting that arm go, and I'm also not just letting my head stay over here and my arm flop over. So it's all one piece moving together. We're going to breathe in and let it go. You can linger for some breaths or just exhale back up and inhale to close it. Now I'm going to have you come back to your back side. Keep your feet planted. Your arms are going to be long at your sides. Your gaze is directly above your face at the ceiling. On an inhale, with your gaze, I want you to imagine there's ceiling tiles. You're going to shift your gaze down 2 ceiling tiles. Notice what happens to my chin when I do that. It's a very slight little nod. I'm not pushing down to bring my chin to my chest and make a double chin. I want to keep the elongation in my cervical spine, so it's just a very slight nod. And then my exhale, I'm gonna follow that gaze and end it at my knees. So basically I drew a line across the ceiling, down the wall, stopped at my knees. I stay for an inhale. And then my exhale, I'm using my eyes to go up the wall, across the ceiling, and end right above my face when my head settles to the mat. Inhale, shift your gaze past your nose. Exhale, lift. Stay for an inhale. Exhale, melt all the way back down. One more. Breathe in. Exhale. Stay for an inhale. And then exhale, melt all the way back down. Now you're going to come up and come to 4 points. You're on your hands and knees. If your wrists don't appreciate this position, you could go onto your fists. You could also, if you're on a rug or a mat, you could roll up the edge of your rug and bring your fingertips off so that creates a bigger angle at your wrist joint. And so here in this 4-point position, your wrists are under your shoulders, your knees are under your hips. We're going to go into cat-cow. So the initiation is curling our pelvis. We exhale, curl. The rest of our spine follows. We drop our head lastly. I want you pushing into the heel of your hands and the tops of your feet. And then release your tailbone. Follow through with the rest of your spine. Head's the last to lift. And then go back. It's like you're making a wave through your spine. In both directions. Tail to head. Tail to head. Now from here we're going to come down for the breaststroke preps. So rather than having your arms in a goal post position, I like to make a slight W so your elbows are lower than your shoulders. You're settled onto your ribs and your pubic bone. Your legs can be laterally rotated and heavy. Elbows are wide and you're facing the mat. Here you're going to inhale to prepare, find length out your toes and head. On your exhale, engage your abdomen. Get a little pressure into your pubic bone and then bring your shoulder heads away from the mat without lifting your ribs. My ribs are down. I stay here for an inhale and then exhale, lengthen back towards the mat. Breathing in, breathing out on the lift. Breathing in to stay, and then breathing out to elongate down. I often give the cue of like if you think about having some paint on your nose, can you get the little dot from your nose even further as you go down? You're lengthening down. I'm not actually touching my nose to the mat, but it's just a cue to help you realize I want you kind of turtling away, finding length out your toes and head. Now I'm going to bring my arms by my sides. My shoulders are going to slump forward into the mat. On an inhale, we retract our shoulders and turn our palms towards our thighs. On an exhale, I lift my shoulder heads, but I'm keeping my ribs down. I stay for an inhale, and then exhale, lengthen all the way back down and relax the shoulders. Inhale, retract. Exhale, extend. My abs are on, my pelvis is pressing. After I inhale here, I'm just going to relax on the exhale. One more, breathing in, breathing out. Staying for an inhale, reaching out my head and toes, and then melting it all the way back down. I bring my fingertips to my forehead. They're going to stay glued there. I've got my elbows wide and my upper traps are released. These are not on. If you press your arms into the floor, you can find that lat engagement if you're not able to just turn them on. I want you to leave your lats on and almost think as if you're lifting from them. You stay for an inhale and then exhale down. We breathe in when we're done. Exhale, engage the abs, press the pubic bone down. Lift from those lats like your armpits are lifting you. After an inhale, you're going to melt down. We're going for one more. Breathe in. Breathe out and lift. Stay for an inhale, and then exhale, elongate back down to the mat. Go ahead and put your hands under your shoulders, tuck your toes, engage your core. Come up for that shell stretch. Have your arms back, and you can rest your head, but your abs are up and on. From here, we're going to go back to our back side, and we're going to do our 100. Some of the warm-ups I've bypassed. I will take a moment to go through some scapular warm-ups. So if you see my shoulders here, protraction and retraction. Protraction is a reach forward of those shoulders, so they're like rounding off my back. And then retraction. Inhale. Exhale. So again, that side view. And then we can do an upward and downward rotation of those scapula. So we come up. And then we'll reverse. And that about sums up your typical warm-up with the exception of our 100, which is what you're going to go into now. So your legs are in tabletop, so that's that 90-degree bend. You're going to curl up and reach your fingers long. You've got your transverse abs engaged, so you're not doming here. You can reach your legs at a 45 with a lateral turnout, or you could keep them in tabletop, squeezed together, they're adducted. We're moving from the shoulders, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. So you could leave your legs long, or you could bring them in when you inhale. You could send them out when you exhale. Maybe the first half you do with them just in tabletop. The last half you do with them left long. You don't move them whatsoever. But check in if you start to dome. Make sure you bring them back into tabletop and reset. If the sides of your neck get sore while you're doing your 100s, you can simply lay your head down, keep everything else going. You could even extend your legs so long as you can keep your engagement. I've admittedly lost count. We're going to do one more. Breathing in, block all that air, and then bring your knees in. Rest your head down, and you can hug your knees to your chest. I like to lift my tailbone and rock from side to side. So if we're going in order of the book, we're going to come to seated next. So you're going to rock up. We're going to do your half roll back. You're seated. Your arms are stretched in front of you. I know you don't care about the order of the book. I'm just feeling nerdy today. So we're going to C-curve our spine. We're hollowing out our middle. Our shoulders are relaxed away from our ears. We're going to inhale to lean back. So we're like rolling onto our sacrum. And then exhale to come back forward. Notice how the shape of my spine is staying the same the whole time. I'm keeping that C curve. On this next one, we're going to go all the way down. Arms will come above, our legs will stretch out. We're going to go into a roll up. So settle onto your glutes. Let your ankles flex. Inhale your arms up. Shift your gaze. Exhale, peel up. Reach out your feet. Hollow out and round forward. Keep your ribs up away from your hips. Don't collapse. Then from here, we're going to inhale, start to unwind. Exhale, keep it going. Inhale, shift your gaze. Exhale, curl your pelvis, nod your chin, roll up. If you do have hand weights at home, if if you use hand weights, it actually helps give you some counterbalance, and it makes this more achievable if you're having a hard time finding that flexion and getting up off the ground. If you have a fitness band, you could wrap it around your feet and you could be using that as well. Now bring your arms down by your sides. We're going to go into our one leg circle. So you're going to develop one leg up into your chest, reach it up to the ceiling. If you can't get your leg fully straight, that's a-okay. We're going to inhale towards our midline, exhale to circle the leg. Ribs are knitted down and in, abs are together. We're really heavy in our waistband to keep us stable. Ideally, our hips aren't rocking at all. We're gonna go the other direction. We inhale away from our body and then exhale to complete that circle. One more. Bend the knee, send that leg long, develop the other into your chest, and up. Inhale to your midline, exhale, make that circle. My quad wanted to cramp there, so I'm going to soften my knee, and I'm going to decrease the range of my circle. Switching directions. I'm lengthening out that leg, trying to make my circle as circly as possible. One more. Bend the knee, send that leg long. Now you're gonna either roll up or you can just rock up and come to seated. So inhale, exhale. And then from here we're just gonna sit up tall. And I'm gonna turn to face you a little bit. We're gonna do our spine twist next. So you can sit with your knees crossed. You can have them out in a shallow V. Whatever feels comfortable for you. I'm gonna sit like this, and your arms will be out at a V. You twist maximally to one side after an inhale, and feel like you're lifting your head up the whole time. Breathe it into center. Your chin's going to stay in line with your sternum. Remember that your gaze dictates where your head goes. So be mindful not to turn your head and lead with your gaze. You're not wringing out a damp towel. You're just getting a little bit of extension, or rotation in your spine in both directions. Nice and gentle. Now you're going to relax your arms down. We're going to move into rolling like a ball, which is the start of your ab series. So you'll come to the edge of your mat. You're going to plant your feet and hold the outside of your shins, or outside of your calves. And I'm going to press into my legs. And so I'm kind of opposing myself with my legs and with my upper body. I'm going to hollow out my middle and create that C curve. The distance between my eyebrows and knees are going to stay the same the whole time. I'm going to find my hover space. And from here you could do the prep, which would be lengthening away and coming back in. A little bit like your half roll back, but staying balanced the whole time. And then from there, if you want to go into the full, you're going to lead with an inhale. You will not go onto your cervical spine, you'll only go onto your shoulder blades. So we'll inhale back, exhale, find a balance point. Inhale, exhale. My gaze is basically staying at my heels the whole time. Remember, your gaze dictates where your head goes. So where your eyes are fixated is always important. You're keeping your shoulders depressed, so you're not shrugging them up to your ears. You're keeping that roundness of your back, which is important when you're trying to be a ball. Now for this next time, you're just gonna round back. Stay there, we're gonna go into our single thigh stretch. So opposite hand to opposite knee. You can be using your hand as a stopper to press your knee into the hand and the hand into the knee. That fires up your core even more. Or simply squeeze that knee into your chest. Now we're going to go into the double. So we're going to take off our top hat and then circle the arms as we bend the knees. It's an exhale, inhale. Now we're going to melt everything down, roll out our ankles. Maybe you want to turn your head from one side over to the other. I think oblique twist, is next in the series. So you're going to curl up and interlace your hands behind your head. Let the weight of your head and neck go into your upper body. On an exhale, you're going to rotate. Can you open your side body? It's not necessarily about tapping that elbow to your knee. I want you to think about getting this elbow back behind you and then switching. And then we can pick it up. Melt it down, plant those feet. That one's always a burner for me. I like to take a pause afterwards. We're not gonna today, unless you wanna hit pause on this, you can. We're gonna go right into our double leg lift and lower. So your legs are up. You can have your hands underneath your sacrum, or maybe you wanna flex up and add a little bit more exertion. If you have a foam roller or a yoga block, I like the foam roller underneath my hips when I do these. Soften the ribs, engage the core. Bring your legs up. You can either put your hands under your sacrum or just leave them out to the sides. I have my palms turned up to open my chest. We're going to exhale to lower, and then inhale to reel it back in. Nothing should be changing in your low back or your pelvis. So I'm actually going to bend my knees and I'm going to reset. I'm going to imprint. So you're going to glide your ribs towards your hips and shorten your obliques. Now bring the legs up, reaching up. From this imprinted position, I'm going to maintain that. Little lateral turn out of the legs. 2 more. Empty your air to help you tap into your low abdominals. That way your hip flexors aren't doing all of the work. Now let's go into our scissors. Legs come up. You're going to curl up, grab behind one calf. You're going to pulse, pulse, and switch. Exhale, exhale, inhale. Bring it in, melt it down, plant your feet, lift your hips. One leg comes up to the ceiling. We flex and lower, point and lift. This feels really great on my quads. Neck and shoulders are relaxed. I'm planted firmly on my scapula. Bend the knee. Now settle your feet, hips stay up. Next comes up. Flex and lower, point and lift. Keeping your hips level the entire time. Bend the knee, roll the spine down. Let's see, now we're going to do roll over prep. So from this position, you're just going to bring your legs up into tabletop. Cross the ankles and arms are your sides. On an exhale, you're going to lift your bottom. So you breathe in, exhale. uncross your legs, recross the other direction, same thing. Good, now we're gonna rock up to a seated position. We're gonna be doing our heel squeeze curl, so we're gonna come to our front side. This isn't gonna look like a ton. Your knees are bent and separated slightly, your heels are together, your arms are folded, you can rest your forehead on your arms. On an exhale, you're gonna press your pubic bone into the floor. Then I want you to squeeze your glutes and your heels, and squeeze your heels even more, and then release. Exhale, you press your pelvis first, then engage your glutes slightly, squeeze your heels, engage your glutes more, squeeze your heels more, and then let it go. So all we're seeing is a puckering of the glutes. Exhale, press and squeeze, engage, press more into the heels, squeeze those glutes, and release. 2 more like that. Exhale, press and squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then let it go. We're going to send our legs long, come up onto our forearms here. Elbows around the shoulders. We're pressing into our wrists. We're going to exhale to bring one heel towards our butt. So it's a pulse, pulse, and elongate. Exhale, exhale, inhale. It's a point, then flex, then point. But if that's too much coordination, you can just pulse, pulse, and send it along. So what are we doing here? We're pressing into the elbows, pressing into the wrists. My pubic bone is planted, but my hip bones are off the floor. So I'm using my core to stay in this lengthened position. I'm stabilizing in my shoulders so I'm not sunk here, and I'm not laying on my tummy. A lot of things are working simultaneously, and if I'm not engaged in those areas, then you'll see this like sloppy move back and forth as I skirt forward and backward on my pubic symphysis. Pulse, pulse, down. Okay, now we're going to go into our full breaststroke. So you lower your chest. You're going to be settled onto your ribs and pubic bone. Legs are laterally rotated, but they stay down the whole time. You're going to exhale to reach your arms forward. Engage your core. Inhale to sweep your arms up. Exhale, lower and reach. Inhale, sweep and elongate. You're bending your elbows to reach forward, blow bubbles in the water, come up for an inhale. Abs are staying up and on the whole time. You're not coming up too far. Your ribs are maintaining contact with the mat, so that way you stay out of your low back. Now plant your hands, press into that shell stretch, rounding your back. Untuck your toes. This is different from a child's pose in that our abs stay engaged the whole time, whereas a child's pose, you're just relaxed over your legs. For a shell stretch, you should be engaged, you should be working, and you should feel a stretch here because you're actively rounding and lengthening that back body. Now we're going to go into the saw, and I do like to do this after spine stretch, which is out of order, but it's helpful to learn the spine stretch before saw. Imagine that you've got suspenders from your rib to hip, and you don't want to shorten those suspenders, so you're trying to keep your ribs up off your hips the whole time. Your legs are slightly separated, and you're going to take an inhale in this tall seat, and then exhale, round yourself forward, keeping that length, and then inhale, sit up. And elongate. So if I want my shoulders to go forward more, my mid-back needs to go back more. I need to hollow out my midsection even more. Let's go leg bar. do spine stretch before saw because saw has a similar motion, and I want you to realize that you're not just folding forward and doing one of those like stretches you did in like 4th grade gym class. Now for the saw, your legs are in this shallow V, your arms are slightly wider than your legs, but not all the way back here. They're a little forward of your shoulders. We're going to be nice and tall. Keep your chin lined up with your sternum. And when we twist, we're basically lining up our chin and sternum with our legs. So we inhale to twist. And then we exhale to reach the opposite arm for that pinky. Remember that spine stretch forward we just did. You're not just folding and collapsing. You're actively rounding. Your gaze is just outside that knee. And then you're going to stack it up. Come center. We breathe in. We breathe out. Back arms high-fiving the ceiling. We stack it up. We come center. Shoulders stay relaxed the whole time. Try not to shrug them up to your ears. Now we're going to move on to neck prep. Neck pull prep. So similar position to your half roll back. Your feet are planted, knees are bent. You're going to have your hands in front of your forehead. You can do them back here. My shoulders don't love that, so I think this is great. So you're seated tall. You're going to curl your pelvis and lean back. Stay for an inhale. Exhale, round forward, and then inhale, sit up. We go. One more. And sit up, relax those arms down. Take some shoulder shrugs if you need. Now we're going to move right into our obliques. Roll back so your arms are zombie forward. You're sitting tall. You're going to exhale, roll back and watch your hand as you sweep it. And then come back up. Exhale. Inhale. So I'm rolling just onto my sacrum. Opening that shoulder in the direction that I'm turning, and then coming back. Now you're going to relax that down. We're going to go into the side leg series. So line yourself up with the edge of your mat. You're going to have your head on your hand to start. Squeeze your legs together and bring them to the front edge of your mat. You can have this hand as a kickstand for today. You're going to lift that top leg hip height. You're going to flex the toe towards your nose. You're dorsiflexing your ankle. You're going to exhale, exhale, and then point and reach that leg on an inhale. Your head's going to be in line with your spine. You're keeping your torso stable. Your abs are up and on. You're trying not to roll forward or backward in that top hip. And you're keeping that leg the same height as your hip. It wants to lower, but you're going to keep it up there. Now bring that line back together. You're going to lift the leg hip height. Bring it forward to the bottom leg. Laterally turn out so it's knee to ceiling. You're going to inhale up, flex, exhale down. So that leg is staying just forward to the bottom leg the whole time. You're reaching out the leg, reaching out the heel when you lower, and you're actively creating your own opposition. So think about pushing down with that heel, like you're squishing something. And then you're going to bring that leg back to meet the other. Come in line with your body. Rest your head down. It's going to be an exhale. And then, so it's exhale, point lift, inhale, flexible. Abs are up and on. You're lengthened through your head and toes. On this next lift, we're gonna pause and take some tiny little circles, breathing in and breathing out. When I do these, I've gotten really heavy in that bottom leg. Like I'm pushing into my thigh, into my calf, into my pinky toe. Switch the direction of that circle. Try to get the back part of the circle, which is tricky. Now pause. Pull up your low abdominals and bring the top and bottom legs together, and then carry them down. That top leg lifts, bottom leg comes to meet it, and you lengthen down. One more. Now both legs are going to squeeze together and lift together. Good. Now from here, we're going to go into a lateral flexion. So we're just going to lift our legs and hover our ear. My bottom palm is turned down to the floor. Notice that I'm trying to keep the length in my neck. I'm not craning my neck, reaching out my head and toes. And then you're going to roll to your stomach, bend your legs, roll out your ankles, and then windshield wiper your knees just to reduce any tension that crept in. Press yourself up, swivel around. Let's do the other side. If I'm moving too fast at all, feel free to pause, take what you need, rewind, listen to any cues you may have missed. You're lying in a lengthened position. You're squeezing your legs together to bring them to the front edge of the mat. You're going to lift that top leg and flex it. Kick, kick, point, and reach. It's an exhale. Inhale. Ooh. Good. Now bring those legs to meet one another. Lift that top leg up and bring it forward to the bottom leg. Laterally turn out, so knees trying to turn to the ceiling. Inhale up, exhale down. It's in one single line, just directly forward of that bottom leg. And you're pushing to the floor actively. Now bring those legs in line with your body, relax your head down. You're going to point and lift, flex and lower. Abs are working always. I often close my eyes when I'm doing some of this work because I'm imagining the muscles that are working, and I'm also maybe turning off muscles that should not be on. Like if I'm shrugged up here, I'm going to relax that shoulder away from my ear. Pause and take those tiny little circles. So here, I'm pressing hard into that bottom leg. My head is heavy on my arm. Reverse the direction of the circle. I'm reaching out my head and toes. Pause, engage your low abs to bring the bottom leg up and carry them down together. Top leg, bottom leg, both lengthen down. Now they both go together on an exhale. Inhale, lower. Feel like you're reaching them to lift them. Reach away from your hips. Remember your upper shoulders relaxed, your neck should be relaxed, your head's just heavy. Now we go into lateral flexion, so bottom hand down. Reach out the head and toes. Last one. Roll onto your stomach, roll out your ankles, windshield wiper your knees. I haven't spent much time watching myself do mat work, so hopefully it all looks good. If you're a fellow teacher, or if you're a trainee, give me some grace. After this, we're going to go into our teaser prep. Actually, I'm gonna blow through some of that. So let's move forward to our swimming prep. There's a couple different preps we can do for swimming. So hands and knees is one of them. They call this bird dog if you're in yoga. You're keeping your waistband level. On an exhale, you're lifting opposite arm and leg. You set it down and then you switch. Inhale, reset. Trying to be careful to keep that back body even. Ideally, there's not too much rotation happening. So beyond this prep, another is coming completely to your front body, making an X shape. Your head is lengthened through the back of the neck. On an exhale, you can engage your core. Maybe you just lift one arm and then the other. Think about lifting from your armpit. Maybe get those lats on. Maybe you rest your head and just go one leg and then the other. Shoulders are relaxed, upper traps are off. Maybe you combine arm and leg. You shouldn't be rocking from hip to hip. You should be staying nice and even on both hips. Maybe you lift everything and lower. It's important to use your core and your glutes so that you can stay out of your lumbar spine. From here, I'm going to come into a shell stretch and then move into leg front prep. So we're going to be on our hands and knees once more, toes are tucked. On an exhale, I'm going to hover my knees so just this book could fit under there. And then on an inhale, I'm going to set them down. Exhale, engage, then lift. Inhale, reset. And one more. If your wrists don't like this, consider also maybe you have too much weight on your front body. Get some of the weight more leaned on your back body. Completely different work in your core other than like the comparison of being too forward. So make sure you're nice and even in that weight distribution. I think that's gonna be everything for today's class. I've run out of time. I'm really grateful if you've stuck along for the entirety of this movement session. We got in a lot of great work today, and I welcome you back to watch it anytime you want. Pause, rewind, maybe skip some sections of things that you don't like. Take whatever mods that you need to feel good in your body. And I look forward to you joining me for future videos that I post as I continue to get the courage to record more. Thanks again for being